blood stained every screen. The insignia of the Galactic Empire, a crimson star encircled by jagged lines, replaced every program on Earth. News? Sports? Entertainment? All vanished. A deathly silence swallowed the world, then a resonant, icy voice echoed. Citizens of Earth! The Galactic Empire announces, today, July 14th. Your era of slavery begins. 100,000 Earth rebels have paid the price. They were hanged for daring to challenge supreme power. The screen exploded with horrifying images. A plaza on a distant planet, a sky as red as blood. Tens of thousands of human corpses swayed on gallows, men, women, children. A gruesome parade of the Empire. Alien crowds watched the terrifying spectacle in silence, indifference. The voice hissed with satisfaction. This is a warning. Disobedience means only annihilation. Your leaders are powerless. Your strength is a joke. Your time is over. Static. The screen went blank. The Neo Las Vegas bar plunged into darkness and cigarette smoke. The lonely sound of rock music from the jukebox became even more mournful. Patrons froze, drinks spilling from their hands. Colonel Jack Rexton sat motionless, teeth grinding. The pungent smell of whiskey, the bitter stench of stale smoke. Horror, rage, and hatred. 100,000 people, hang! A trembling whisper broke the silence. Rexton leaped up, chair crashing. His face was like stone, veins bulging. No! They didn't just kill people. They declared war on all of humanity. The young Marine snapped, voice tight. How do we respond, Colonel? Rexton roared, slamming his hand on the table. Fight! To the end! Call the old crew! Full alert! Phone in hand, steel commands rang out. The network of veterans ignited. Death or glory! The bar overflowed with tattooed, scarred figures. Captain Kyle Harrison, a giant with broad shoulders, strode in. Steel eyes, cynical smile. You called, Colonel? Welcome back to hell, Jake. Rexton tossed the tablet, the horrific footage playing. Harrison watched, jaw clenched, face darkening. Enough is enough. He cracked his knuckles, teeth grinding. Time to let those bastards know, Earth isn't a place to be trifled with. The bar transformed into a makeshift command center. Maps, data, weapons. Hatred ignited. 80s rock music howled, drowning out the metallic clicks of weapons being loaded. Harrison moved among the warriors, patting shoulders, encouraging. Tension? Yes. But determination burned even hotter. Jake! Twinkies, supplies! A hoarse laugh cut through the heavy air. What were they fighting for? For Earth. For freedom. For damn Twinkies. Dawn broke. Rexton stood amidst the suicide squad, eyes blazing. They want to subdue us with fear? They are sorely mistaken. We are Americans. We don't kneel. We fight. To our last breath. A resounding shout, weapons gripped tighter. Harrison stepped forward. No warnings. No negotiations. Only justice. Our way. Rexton roared orders. Depart tonight. Rest up. Then, hell awaits them. The bar fell silent, but the electricity of war crackled. Rexton turned on the jukebox. Danger zone, roared. Harrison smirked. Fitting. A brief silence before the storm. Rexton gritted his teeth. Let's show them. Earth justice. The war began. The transport ships sped through the darkness. Rexton felt the engines rumble, his heart pounding. Absolute stealth. The universe silent, indifferent. But inside, hatred boiled. Legendary warriors. Scars, experience, eyes burning with death. Harrison chewed gum, breaking the silence. How the hell are we infiltrating an impenetrable fortress, Colonel? Rexton smirked. By not getting caught. Laughter erupted, mixed with tension and resolve. A suicidal mission. The lion's den awaited. But what did they have? Guns, bullets, and the fury of 100,000 souls. Target: the Imperial Command Station. The nerve center of the war. Impenetrable fortress. 5 minutes to insertion, the pilot reported. Rexton straightened up. Listen up! Not revenge. Declaration. The Empire despises Earth? Tramples our people? Tonight they will know who is truly strong. We fight. For 100,000 fallen. For Earth's honor. For all who believe in us. Prove them wrong, terribly wrong. Silence. Nods. Death or glory. The transport ship slid into the shadows of the space station. Docking. Hatch open. Ghosts infiltrated. Harrison led, guns sweeping left and right. Cold, foul-smelling corridors. Machine hums droned. Earpiece buzz. Eris, clear! No patrols! Rexton gritted his teeth. Good! Keep it that way! Crossroads. Holographic map appeared. Command center, upper levels. Maintenance lift. Old, rusty, the lift groaned as it carried them up. Rexton tense, finger on the trigger. Lift doors opened. Command level. Luxurious, polished, alien symbols glowed ominously. Heart of the Empire. Vibrating with power. Tight formation, Rexton ordered. Each step gets closer to death. Massive steel doors. Black armored guards. Mechanized eyes glowed. Halt! Rexton commanded. Harrison, mark left. Johnson, me right. Silent. Swift. Pop. Pop. 2 guards slumped. Rexton rushed forward, checking the door. This is it. Breach. Mark plugged in the device, fingers dancing on the control panel. Screen flickered, symbols scrambled then. Green. We're in. Mark grinned. Door slid open. The command center revealed. Vast, overwhelming. Consoles, holographic displays, alien officers with their backs turned. Attack! Rexton roared. Storm of fire erupted. Officers fell. Chaos. Screams. Harrison vaulted over a console, taking down 2. Mark lobbed a grenade. Catastrophic explosion. Rexton stormed into the center, gun spitting fire, snarling. Where's your grand speech now? The battlefield was ravaged in moments. Gun smoke, stench, burning circuits. The command center, theirs. Rexton plugged the data spike into the main console. Harrison, cover me! Mark, download data! The console buzzed and whirred as the spike worked, transferring everything they needed: comm logs, troop movements, command codes, evidence of the Empire's crimes, proof of their atrocities, and the tools to bring the whole damn thing crashing down. Mark looked up from the console. Got it. 30 seconds to complete transfer. Rexton nodded, scanning the room. His heart pounded, each second an eternity. Then the alarm blared. A harsh, wailing sound echoed through the station, followed by an alien voice barking commands over the loudspeakers. Looks like we overstayed our welcome, Harrison said, reloading. Rexton tapped his comm. Extraction team, we're on the clock. Get the ship ready. Data spike beeped, transfer complete. Mark yanked it out, stuffing it into a vest pocket. Move! Rexton barked. They sprinted back towards the lift. The station roared to life around them. Red lights flashed, alien soldiers flooded the corridors, weapons spitting searing blue energy. Harrison returned fire, his rifle barking rapidly. We're gonna need a bigger distraction. Rexton grinned despite the chaos. I've got just the thing. He pulled a small device from his belt, a detonator linked to charges planted throughout the station. He pressed the button. The explosion rocked the station, a series of blasts cascading through the lower levels. Lights flickered, alien soldiers stumbled as the floor trembled beneath them. Go! 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 Rexton shouted. Lift doors opened, they piled in, doors closing just as a squad of alien soldiers rounded the corner. Rexton leaned against the wall, catching his breath. Into the heart of the beast, he muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. And out again in one piece. Harrison chuckled, checking ammo? Yeah, but something tells me they won't forget this visit anytime soon. Rexton nodded. Good. Let them remember we're just getting started. The hangar was a frenzy of organized chaos as the extraction team brought the shuttle back into the stealth carrier. The thick doors of the carrier's hangar bay sealed shut with a hiss, blocking out the void of space and the blaring alarm klaxons from the Imperial station. Colonel Rexton felt the hum of the engines beneath his feet as the ship accelerated to full speed, slipping away into the darkness like a predator retreating after a clean kill. Status report! Rexton barked, eyes darting between his men and the bridge crew. Mark jogged up, breathless but grinning. Data secure. Every transmission, every kill order, every gory detail recorded and ready for broadcast. The galaxy's about to get a front row seat to the Empire's little horror show. Good. Rexton clapped him on the shoulder, his expression darkening. We're not done yet. Upload it to the comm relay. I want every corner of the galaxy to see it. No filters, no edits, just the raw truth. Let the Empire try to spin their way out of this one. Mark nodded and sprinted off towards Comms Bay. Tension hung heavy as the crew waited for confirmation, each second stretching longer than eternity. Rexton turned to Captain Harrison, standing nearby, reloading with a casual precision that seemed almost lazy. ETA on enemy pursuit? Harrison shrugged. They'll be on us in less than 10 minutes, maybe, but something tells me they've got more important things to worry about right now. He wasn't wrong. The explosions they'd set off in the station's lower levels had likely crippled several key systems. The Empire would be scrambling to restore control, their command structure thrown into disarray. But Rexton knew the Empire's ego. They wouldn't let this go unanswered, not after what his team had just done. Commander on deck! A voice called out, and the crew snapped to attention as Admiral Boyd strode into the hangar. His face was a mixture of grim satisfaction and cold calculation. Colonel Rexton, Boyd said, nodding towards Rexton. I trust the mission was a success? Rexton tossed him a data chip. See for yourself, sir. It's all there. Every crime, every execution, every lie they fed the galaxy. We got them dead to rights. Boyd turned the chip over in his fingers, eyes narrowing. And you're sure this will get the message across? Rexton's lips curled into a wolfish grin. Oh, it'll get across all right. Loud and clear. The Admiral gave a curt nod. Very well. Get it broadcast immediately. Let the galaxy see the truth. Minutes later, the comms array hummed to life, transmitting the data across every major galactic network. Screens in the carrier's command center lit up, displaying the horrific footage in stark detail. Rows of Americans hanging from crude nooses, their bodies swaying in the breeze while alien crowds jeered and laughed. Then came the execution orders, commands issued by smug Imperial officers, their voices dripping with disdain for human life. The reaction was immediate. Rexton watched with grim satisfaction as galactic message boards exploded with outrage. Alien races that had once remained neutral now found themselves questioning their allegiances. Even some Imperial loyalists were stunned into silence, their faith in their leaders shaken by the unfiltered brutality on display. Harrison leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk on his face. Look at that, they're eating it up. #Empire is a joke is already trending across 5 systems. Rexton snorted. Good. Let them talk. The more noise they make, the harder it'll be for the Empire to cover this up. Victory, however, was short-lived. Colonel, the communications officer called out, face pale. We're picking up multiple signatures on long-range sensors. Looks like an Imperial strike fleet headed straight for us. Rexton's jaw tightened. How long? 10 minutes, maybe less. Boyd's expression didn't waver. Prepare for evasive maneuvers and arm the ship's defenses. If they want to fight, we'll give them one. The carrier's crews sprang into action. The hum of the engines rose as the ship changed course. Rexton felt the familiar rush of adrenaline, his senses sharpening as the situation escalated. This wasn't the first time they'd gone toe-to-toe with the Empire, but it was the first time they'd poked the beast this hard. Harrison grinned, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. Looks like we're about to serve up some justice, American style. Rexton chuckled despite himself. Damn right. Let's make sure they never forget it. The ship rocked as the first barrage hit, energy blasts sizzling against the carrier's shields. Bridge lights flickered, but the crew remained focused, each person playing their part with military precision. Rexton grabbed a comm link. All hands brace for impact. Fire at will. The carrier's turrets roared to life, spitting plasma and railgun rounds at the approaching fleet. Fighters swarmed from the hangar bay, engaging the enemy in a chaotic dance of fire and metal. Explosions lit up the darkness like fireworks. The void of space transformed into a battlefield. Rexton felt the heat of battle, the air thick with tension and the acrid smell of burning circuits. He barked orders, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. We can't hold this position, Boyd said, his eyes locked on the tactical display. We'll be overwhelmed. Agreed, Rexton said, but we're not running either. He gestured to the display. See that gap in their formation? If we punch through there, we can slip into the asteroid field and lose them. Boyd nodded. Risky. Rexton smirked. Risky is what we do best. The Admiral gave the order, and the carrier veered sharply, engines roaring as it beelined for the gap. Enemy ships closed in, weapons blazing, but the carrier gunners returned fire with relentless precision. Harrison grinned as a fighter exploded in a ball of flame. One for the highlight reel, Harrison said. Refocus, Captain, Rexton said, though his own heart was pounding with exhilaration. We're not out of this yet. The carrier plunged into the asteroid field, massive rocks tumbling around them like a deadly maze. The pursuing ships hesitated, wary of the treacherous terrain. Rexton seized the opportunity. Divert all power to engines, he ordered. Let's put some distance between us. The ship surged forward, weaving through the asteroids with surprising agility. The Imperial ships tried to pursue, but one by one they fell back, unwilling to risk destruction in the chaotic field. Status? Rexton asked, his voice calm but firm. We're clear, the comms officer reported, a hint of disbelief in his voice. They're not following. A cheer erupted from the crew, but Rexton remained focused. Don't celebrate yet, he said. We've won the battle, but the war is just getting started. Harrison leaned against the console, grinning. If this is just the beginning, I can't wait to see the grand finale. Rexton allowed himself a small smile. Neither can I. But one thing's for sure, they picked the wrong people to mess with. The carrier sailed on into the abyss of space, leaving the wreckage of battle in its wake. Justice had been served, American style, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The command deck was eerily silent, save for the low hum of the carrier's engines. The battle was over, but the tension lingered in the air like the aftermath of a storm. Colonel Rexton stood at the center of the deck, arms crossed as he stared at the tactical display. The ship had escaped barely, but the cost of their actions was about to hit the galaxy like a shockwave. Sir, Mark said, breaking the silence. The broadcast is still spreading across the networks. It's reached the outer colonies. Message boards are on fire. Protests have already started on several neutral worlds. Rexton nodded, his face grim. Good. Keep monitoring the chatter. I want to know exactly how deep this cuts. Admiral Boyd approached, his boots clicking softly on the metal floor. Colonel, we just received a secure transmission from Earth Command. They want a full debrief immediately. Rexton didn't look away from the display. His eyes were fixed on the growing cluster of red dots, Imperial fleet positions spreading across the map. Let them know we'll report in once we've regrouped. Right now, our priority is keeping this ship and its crew alive. Boyd hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Understood. But you realize the Empire won't let this slide. They'll retaliate, and hard. Rexton finally turned to face him. I'm counting on it. They'll come after us, but they'll do it publicly. They'll want to make an example of us, and when they do, we'll be ready. Boyd raised an eyebrow. You're betting on their arrogance? I'm betting on their stupidity, Rexton said, his voice steady. They think fear is enough to control the galaxy. They've never faced real resistance not like this. The more they push us, the more cracks will appear in their armor. The Admiral studied him for a moment before breaking into a slow smile. You might just be crazier than I thought, Colonel. Rexton chuckled. Comes with the job, sir. The communications officer called out, his voice urgent. Incoming transmission from an Imperial cruiser. It's the High Chancellor himself. The room fell deathly silent. All eyes turned to the main display as the screen flickered to life. The High Chancellor's face appeared a cold, expressionless visage framed by ornate armor. His eyes were like chips of ice, and his voice was a low, measured growl. Colonel Rexton, Admiral Boyd. You've made quite the spectacle of yourselves. Rexton stepped forward, jaw clenched. High Chancellor. To what do we owe the pleasure? The High Chancellor's eyes narrowed. You've crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Do you understand the magnitude of your actions? You've incited rebellion, you've spread lies and propaganda, you've endangered the stability of the galaxy itself. Rexton's lips twitched into a faint smile. You call it rebellion, we call it justice. Justice? The High Chancellor's voice dripped with disdain. Justice is a human delusion. The strong rule, the weak obey, that is the natural order. Funny, Rexton said, crossing his arms. That's not what I saw when your ships ran from a bunch of rocks back there. The weak don't usually make the strong retreat. A murmur of laughter spread through the bridge. The High Chancellor's face darkened, but he pressed on, his voice turning icy. You think you've won something here, but this is far from over. We will hunt you down, we will destroy your ship, your crew, and every trace of your existence. Rexton leaned in, his eyes locked on the screen. Then you'd better send everything you've got, Chancellor. Because if you come for us, we won't just survive. We'll bury you. The High Chancellor glared at him for a long moment, then cut the transmission. The screen went black, leaving the crew in stunned silence. Boyd exhaled slowly. Well, that went about as well as expected. Rexton turned to Harrison, standing at the edge of the deck, arms folded. Thoughts, Harrison? Harrison smirked. Sounds like they're scared. A wounded animal always roars the loudest. Rexton nodded. Exactly. Which means they'll be reckless. We can exploit that. Mark walked back to the main console, his fingers flying across the keys. Sir, the data from the Imperial network is still pouring in. I found something interesting. Rexton raised an eyebrow. Interesting how? Plans for a new superweapon, Mark said, spinning the display towards him. The Empire's been working on it for years. If they finish it, everything we've done so far will just look like a warm-up. Rexton stared at the schematics on the screen, his mind processing at lightning speed. Then we won't let them finish it. Boyd frowned. You're talking about striking at the heart of the Empire? That's suicide. Maybe, Rexton said, his voice calm. But it's also the best shot we've got at ending this war before it spirals out of control. If we hit them hard enough, we can cripple their entire war machine. The room fell silent again. The weight of his words settled over the crew like a heavy blanket. Then Harrison grinned. I'm in. Mark raised a hand. Me too. Someone's gotta keep you guys from blowing yourselves up. One by one, the crew voiced their agreement. Rexton felt a surge of pride. These men were more than soldiers, they were brothers. They'd face death together, and they'd do it again without hesitation. Then it settled. He said. We hit the Empire where it hurts. We take out that weapon, and we show the galaxy that no one, not even the mighty Galactic Empire, can break the human spirit. Boyd nodded. I'll start drawing up a plan. Rexton turned back to the tactical display, his eyes blazing with determination. The war was far from over, but for the first time in a long time, it felt like they were fighting on their own terms, and if the Empire thought they could crush humanity with fear and brute force, they were about to learn a very painful lesson. Rexton clenched his fists, his voice barely a whisper, but carrying the weight of 1,000 battles. Let them come.